how to drill down to that in a second. Sorry, there's list of the partitions, list of the properties, there's a performance dashboard again, look at that later, and we're actually saying, do you want to actually collect the data or not in here, LEDs, update them or not. Now if you can't find what you want on this list, you can go down here, you tend to have to click it to bring it back up, there we go, and there's the, for example, the power off. Now what's in here will change depending on the state of the machine. If the machine is powered off, then this will say power on up in here. So it's a dynamic list. Right, now come out of that, we can also, if we just want to go in, and the default, in fact was up in here, system properties, if we want to go to there, we can just click on the name of the thing. We don't have to click on the little check button. So these are the partitions running on my Emerald server. You can actually see this thing building up in there. It's got resources, which is in here. All systems, I've selected one particular one, are in the partitions view. This name is the name that we can see in here. And if I want to change to a different view, I've got lots of other views down in here of this particular resource. I can click on here and move down. Then we've got general and processor, and you can see that down here is general and processor and virtual I/O servers and all the others down in here. So sometimes you might prefer to click on here to get that list, and sometimes I prefer actually using these ones down in here. These ones you can actually sort of hide as well. If you click ones that have got up arrows on them, then you can actually hide a lot of information in here and have the one open that you actually want. Now in this case, this is a particular machine. We think, oh, I didn't mean Emerald. Particularly if you got lots of machines with very similar numbers, you had the one that ended with a B, but you wanted the one that ended with a D. You click on the list of resources, and you can go and look at the other machine. So it keeps you in the same view, and it takes you to the other machine. And down in here, we can also look at the partitions and VO servers. That's the same list as we've got in here, partitions, VO servers, frames, etc. Okay, so let's go back to Emerald. It's got some things running it that I want to show you in a minute. Another thing you can do with the breadcrumbs is just get out of where you are. You could go down lots of levels down in here, and we could say, let's just go back up to the top. I want to see all my systems again, and select a different one. Right, back into Emerald, we're going to look down this list in here of things we actually want to see. Here's all the partitions on the machine. You might have gone into partitions and found the partition another way by looking amongst all the partitions available on your HMC. Or you can go into here. So this is the partitions we're actually doing. You see these little pop-ups in here, it says there's 10 of them available. There's 2 VIO servers available. Also general settings for this machine. Now remember we're looking at servers, or systems in this case. So here's the name of it. We can change the name of it. We can say it's IP in Southbank. We could put the fact that it's actually in Suite 2, which is the computer room in here. Now when we did that, you saw it flashed up, it was thinking a little bit, it said, okay, you've changed that, you've got a save operation in here. This change won't be saved until we actually hit the save button. So if you go somewhere else, it will throw that away. Or you can do a cancel if that's what you really want to do. If you actually try to move away from this screen, it says, no, you've got to tell me, do you want this data or not in here, these changes that you've made. In this case we'll do a save, and we've got the extra thing in the description in here. And all my computers in the same place. So this is the location, this is the actual description down here. So you might put lots of useful information about the machine. Who's the owner, who to phone if there's a problem with this, who to escalate to if it's 4 o'clock in the morning and somebody's got to give permission to power it off because it's called fire. So whatever you want, you can put in there. Down in here we got processor and memory. So it's just got the descriptions of what we got in here. We saw this little bit of detail on those pop-up statistics in here. You can see what you got. Active memory sharing is supported in here, and the physical adapters. If I scroll down in here, we've got a big table full of all the adapters of fibre channels in here, and it's owned by a particular VO server. I've got a 4-port 10 gigabit Ethernet in here, and it's not in use at the moment, so maybe I'll put that into an LPAR. This is telling me there's a whole bunch of ports on here at different times. Switch those off if you want. look at the other adapters inside the box and empty slots. So we've got 3 empty slots in here. We can put an extra couple of adapters in here if somebody desperately wants that. And we've got SAS RAID, for example, for our VAO servers to boot off inside the machine. Further on down in here, we've got the virtual I/O servers, and we've got a sort of naming convention, the VAO server 1 and VAO server 2, bit of a giveaway about what that's about. Virtual networks in here. There's a little bit of time coming up. We've got a very simple configuration. We don't have a lot of IP addresses on the network administrator for 256 port address ranges. And we've got the virtual switch in here, virtual networking bridge, and all those sorts of things in here too. That's just a list. We could do things in here. We could like add a virtual network, and it'll ask us for the details of what we want, and off we go. Give me a little flash up in here that finished something we're doing. I'll just cancel out of that. It's as you would expect. Virtual NICs. I don't think our SRIOV adapters are in use at the moment. Virtual storage. It's having to go to the VAO servers and ask what's going on in here. Then virtual storage, we've got the 2 virtual I/O servers providing that. We have a shared storage pool in here, and so the shared storage pool that this machine is actually connected to is called Orbit. 4.5 terabytes, 2.5 terabytes free, so that's all fine. We've got virtualized hardware in here. Here's the SRIOV adapters. We're not actually using these at the moment. I'll tell you what's up and down in here. Modify the adapter, click a particular port, and then we've got actions we can do in here, view physical ports, for example. Okay, we've got shared processor pools down in here, and I'm looking for capacity upgrade on demand functions in here. This again will look similar to what you get with a classic. I'm just trying to look for the serviceability. Yeah, here's a new one in here, a virtual network diagram. There's a completely new feature, I believe, in the 870. I haven't noticed it in the earlier versions of the HMC Enhanced Plus. The Classic doesn't let you do things like this. It took a little while to come up, but it is new. It'll probably get faster in the next release. So we actually got a little hand in here, so we can actually walk around this diagram in here and move it around. And I can slide it up, and so we see the 2 VAO servers. I've got 2 Cs and the ENT numbers in here, and here's the VLAN 62, because we're 9.137.62, that's where we got that from. And you actually see the IP addresses of the virtual machines further down here, the actual partitions. Nice way of making sure that it is connected the way you thought it was connected, and you can see the actual adapters that it's going out on in slots C2 and C10. Well, that's enough about servers. There's a couple of things I haven't shown you. I'll pop these out of the way. You see the up and down arrows. I didn't click on this one, actions. Oh, capacity are those same graphs that we've seen before. CPU, memory, network, and storage. So we get to remember those. In here we have a whole load of detailed things. One here called legacy that we put them in here, well the developers did, just in case you really need to do them. So we've got operations in here, which is where this power off is hiding. You can find that in the higher up level, of course. We saw that earlier. I've got sort of power management and scheduled operations, and rebuild the server if you think your HMC is out of sync with the service processor, that sort of thing. That's all in here. Here's the ASME menu. Can't say I've dived into that very often recently. Change system password. So in here then we've got some the connection stuff for resetting the connection or disconnecting a machine because you want to move it to a different HMC. Templates, we're going to look at that later, but we can deploy a system template to a machine, or we can go into templates and then select the machine we want to deploy to, and we can create a partition template, partition from a template as well. This is a system template and partition template. We'll look at those later on.